4 desires. Money. I want to be rich. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Or fame. I want to be a person who walks around the street and people say, "Can I have your autograph, please?" Or power. I want to be in charge. Or influence. I want to be a person who actually change people's lives somehow. Your desire is one of the 4. And it's not a shame if you are a person behind money, or fame, or power, or influence, whatever it is. But you have to actually understand what is it that you want. رغبتك وش هي؟ هل رغبتك المال؟ الشهرة؟ المنصب؟ أو التأثير على الناس؟ So everybody, write down right now what is your desire, because that's the first step toward your journey. What do you want? Is it money? That's okay. The fame? That's fine. But at least you have to know what is your desire. And then the next step for the journey of success is called the talent. A lot of you might have heard this study before, but a study by Harvard University proved that human beings might actually possess one of 8 types of talents. And we'll go through them right now. Now the first type is called the linguistic talent. Now how do you know if you are a linguistic person? If you are a person who loves to read and write, loves poetry, a person who doesn't find it hard to learn languages, a person who kind of quickly just memorize things, then you are a linguistic person. How many linguistic people in the room? Raise your hand if you are. That's good. The second type is called the logical or the mathematical talent. And how do you know that you have this kind of talent? If you're a person who loves math and numbers and puzzles, and you understand charts very easily, then you are a logical person, or you possess a logical talent. How many logical people in there? There you go. The third type of intelligence is called the body or Now, how do you know that you have that kind of talent? If you are a person who likes to spend most of your time outside, you love sports, and because you work out a lot, you sleep for a very long amount of hours. And if you are a person who loves crafts and loves to do things with their hands, then you are having a body talent or body intelligence. How many people with a body talent in the room? The fourth type of intelligence is called the interpersonal intelligence. Now, how many of you, or you know someone in your life, whenever you walk into a party, they can click with everyone? They're very social. Now that's the kind of talent. They're natural leaders. They usually have so many friends and they can click with strangers so easily. And they hate to be alone. And they always try to please other people. How many of you have a social or an interpersonal talent? The next type of intelligence is the interpersonal, which is the opposite. And this is a person who can get goals, he can set goals very easily. Your strengths and weaknesses. You are very respectful of time. And if you are in a relationship, you're the best person in the relationship. You care so much about that other person. How many of you think they have interpersonal talent? The next type of talent is the musical talent. If you are a person with a good voice, a person who loves tunes. How many of you have heard people in your life who come to you and say, have you ever heard that song that goes like da 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 da? They can break tunes easily. Yeah. It's not me, but and usually they have very beautiful noise, and as I said, they can analyze rhymes very easily. How many of you with a musical talent? The next type of talent with the spatial talent. If you're a person who loves to draw and who loves to take pictures. You love colors.
Ibrahim Maricar.
You understand 3D shapes very easily. And it's easy for you to identify your location in terms of where is north and south. I'm really bad at this, by the way. But if you're a person who can tell where is your location exactly, then you are a spatial person. How many of you are spatial people? The last type is called the naturalist talent. And those are people who love nature. They love pets. They love animals. And they are fascinated by how the human body works. How many of you have the nature talent? Now, some of you might say, well, I have more than one. That's fine. But what is your strength? What is the strongest talent that you have? Write it down. We already identified what's your desire, and now we identified what's your talent. And now the road to your success or road to your goal is starting to shape itself. If you're a person with a physical talent and you want to be famous, what could you be? A sports person. If you're a person with a logical talent and you want to be rich, what could you be? Stock market, businessman, and so on. So now we're starting to shape up where do you want to go in your life. The next step, ladies and gentlemen, it's called the hobby. What do you mean by hobby? Now you have this talent, and whenever you have free time, you do this talent. For example, if you're a person who loves to sing, you sing in the shower. As soon as the water hits you, hello, it is me. No, please. If you're a person who are really good with drawing, and some of you might do this right now, you're bored with me talking, so you need to get a piece of paper and you start drawing. That happens. If you're a person who loves to take pictures, again, you do it when you have time, in your free time. And yet, it's not a priority. Your priorities might be your family, your school, or so on. But whenever I have time, I will dabble around in this talent that I have. And the next step is called the habit. Turning your hobby into a habit. Now, what's actually the difference between a hobby and a habit? A hobby, as I said, you do it in your free time. And you do it because it's fun. And you do it consciously. This means you, in your conscious mind, you plan time to actually do this habit. You're bored one day, you call your friends, hey, come on, let's just go outside and play some soccer or something. But it takes even a little bit of planning. And you can have so many hobbies. Now, when it becomes a habit, you do it in a regular basis. And you do it because it feels good. And what does that mean? It means if you don't do it, something is wrong. I smoke, and I have a friend of mine who smokes really bad. At work, when we go outside to smoke, and as soon as he goes, I said, well, it's not a drug. But for him it is. Why? It became his habit. And you do it subconsciously, without even thinking about it. You're already programmed to do this kind of habit. And you might have only few kind of habits in your life. Now, how can you turn that hobby of yours into a habit? How can you put it in your system? It's part of who you are. A study shows that, a study by a British and the study shows that if you do something for 21 days straight, it becomes a habit. If you're not a smoker and you smoke for 21 days, you'll probably smoke until you die. If you go to the gym for 21 days, you will go every single day.
You are Toastmaster for 1 day?
If you go to Toastmasters for 21 days straight,
1 day.
So, now, write down that hobby of yours that you do in your free time. And if it's related to the talent and desire of yours, then turn it into a hobby. Promise yourself right now that I'm going to do it for 21 days. No excuses. And now it's in your system. Now it became a habit. What's the next step? It's called the passion. And in this passion phase, you have to set exactly what you dream. What exactly do you want? We said earlier that I want to be rich. How rich? Set yourself a very measurable goal. For example, if I'm a person who wants to be a famous soccer player, my measurable goal is one day I will play a game in an Ittihad. Or at least that's one immeasurable goal. If I want to be rich, one day I will have 5 million or 10 million. Now, why is it important to set yourself a very measurable goal? Because If you just go in your life aimlessly without actually a specific goal, it's really easy for you to kind of stop. Well, at least I tried, it was fun. But once you have that very specific goal, you always remind yourself, I will never stop until I get to that goal. And don't be afraid to ask for help. We discussed earlier the type of talents that everyone has. Now, you might also have some weaknesses in some other areas, which is okay, nobody's perfect. Now, these other areas, you might actually need it into your journey toward your dream. So what do? Seek people that you know who are really strong in these areas and ask for help. Learn from them. And you will be shocked and surprised how helpful people are. If I came to you and said, I need your help with something, you'd be like, really?
Yes.
Yes. And everybody would be very happy to offer a helping hand. And 10% of whatever you make, and 10% of your time in this passion phase will go toward that talent. 10% of whatever you make. It's not for emergencies. It's not for a vacation. No, 10% is for you. If you're a person who loves to take photos, 10% goes into buying that very expensive cameras that I don't know how to operate. Or goes into taking, like any courses or classes to learn and to sharpen that skill of yours. If you're a person who loves to draw, 10% goes into all the colors and the canvases and the courses that you need to sharpen that talent. And in this passion phase, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to try more than once. And it's going to take months and sometimes even years. And there will be times when you think to yourself, well, maybe I should just stop. But think of it as this way. Every time you try and you don't make it, and you ask yourself why I didn't make it, when you try the second time, you will avoid that mistake. You might make a new mistake, but you'll never make the same mistake again. So every trial is not just failure. It's just one step closer. You're getting closer to that goal of yours. It might take, as I said, years. But if you know exactly what you want, and you're willing to learn from every step along the way, then one day you will get to the next phase, which is the goal. You made it. You wanted to be famous. Now everybody knows who you are. You wanted to be rich. Now you have like millions. Now, and like you want to be a person of influence. Now everybody's following you. You made it. Now what? What's next? And a lot of people, when they make it, they don't actually enjoy that goal. How many of you have had something that you wanted for a very long time, and once you got it, you got kind of, like, really? It doesn't feel as fulfilling as you thought it was. Why? Because we forget to celebrate our successes. Reward yourself. Write down right now. Once I reach that goal of mine, I'm going to buy myself, and then you can buy like anything. Buy yourself something. Buy yourself a vacation. Buy yourself that expensive car that you wanted. That watch. That bag. Buy yourself something. Reward yourself. Because you made it. And it does make sense. And it is a big deal that you came this far. And then you can ask yourself, what's next? What's next? I've made what I wanted. Now what's next? Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard of doctors? Some very specialized doctors who make a lot of money. And yet every year they take a month or two and they fly to Africa in a tent under the heat of the sun, treating people for free. Why? He is so rich that if he spent $1 million every single day, and I'm not saying invest, no, I'm saying spend $1 million every single day, it will last him until the day you die. Can you spend $1 million? No, you can't. Yet he can. Now what? He took half of his fortune and he donated it to charity. And this brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to the last step. The battery is low. The last step, ladies and gentlemen, is the mission. Each one of you will live one time. You only have one shot at this life. And you want to leave this earth knowing that the earth is now a better place because I was in it. How? You've achieved that goal of yours. Now you pass it to everybody. Now you let the benefits spread to everybody around you. Make your mark in this world, ladies and gentlemen. After I won the championship, and I still didn't believe that I just won. And I got these interviewers who come to me and said, Mohammed, what's next? And I always say, I have no idea. I really don't know. I never thought this through. And they walked me into this hall. And in front of me there's a line of people, 1,000 people, from all over the world. And each one of them, they just want to take a picture of me. And an autograph. أبو قحط أنت بخراسك. And I thought of myself as a really big deal. Until this old lady walked up to me. And she had tears in her eyes. Tears. She came up to me and she held my hand and she said, son, I want you to know something. What you said up there will make me a better person. I will be a better person because of you. And that's when I knew what's my mission. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just a regular person, just like all of you. I'm no special. But what I want in life is maybe in 5 or 10 or 20 years from now, I'll be at home watching TV and flipping through the channels. And all of a sudden there's an interview with a very successful person. A person who made it big in his life. Hopefully it's one of you. And they would ask that person this question. How did you begin? What was the spark? How did you start this journey? And I want to hear that person say, one time, long time ago, I listened to this guy, I think his name is Mohammed Qahtani or something. If I can't change one person's life, then I know that I left this earth a better place than it already is. Ladies and gentlemen, make your mark. Think about what you want out of this life. And pursue that desire of yours. Know what is your talent. Turn it into a hobby and turn that hobby into a habit. Then chase that passion and put everything you have in that passion until you reach that goal. And once you do, never forget to pass it on to everybody else. Make your mark in this world, and I really hope, that all of your dreams can come true. Thank you so much for listening.